the great senator of our county, Grand County, distinguished platform guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a remarkable day in the history of the CDC. We are converged here in Grand County, Zwaju City, Zulu Whiskey, because this county has provided the strongest support to the Congress and the Coalition for Democratic Change. In the 3 elections President Weah contested, for the second round, on average, 2005, 2017, and 2023, Grand has provided 85% of the votes. That is the highest in the country. And so you are deserving to be both the headquarters in the southeastern region and to be the location for this momentous occasion. We gather here at a very perilous moment. The establishment of the CDC was for the purpose of strengthening Liberian democracy, for empowering the poor people of Liberia to political ascendancy. In the last 20 years of our country, we have made significant progress. But as we gather here to celebrate and reflect on the CDC's achievements and its challenges, I must report to you that progress is under threat. We have a government in power that is intending to move our country back towards autocracy. You, the Liberian people, in the last 20 years, with all of our struggles, we have ended autocracy. Now, you don't know what autocracy is, some of you? Dr. Amos Sawyer wrote a book on the emergence of autocracy in Liberia. Autocracy means the president of the country, the leader, wants to replace the rule of law with himself as the rule. So that's who an autocrat is. An autocrat says, I am the president, whatever I say must be the law. Forget about the rule or the law. The rescue government, which are now called the reckless government, is trying to do just that. To say, when the Supreme Court rules and makes an opinion, it is not important. It's about what the president says. And so that is a serious threat to our country. Because what that means is that the freedoms that we have been enjoying since the end of war, the fact that we have very free and fair election. Now let me tell you one thing. Liberia is among the few countries in the world where you, the citizens, can be represented in the counting of the votes. That did not happen because of a president. It happened because of our democratic transition to plurality. Other countries, political parties don't send representatives. So you get the result. But in this country, we have representatives there. So any party that has representatives in all the 5,000 polling places in the country can call the election result 2 hours after. That is a theoretical freedom that political parties sitting here should work towards. No president can take it from us. This regime may be trying to take that away. This regime, this country, no president can seek more than 2 terms. No president can run for 3rd term of office. It is because you, the Liberian people, have given us that right. Now we have a government that is saying this is far too much. All Supreme Court justices are under threat as we speak. Judges in the country are under threat to make ruling according to what the president or what the government wants. This is bad for our country. When we do all of that, when there is no rule in the country, it means all of us are going back to anarchy, to chaos, to war. And we will not allow that to happen. The men gathered behind me here, the honorable political leaders, have converged here to send the clarion signal that this will not happen. We tell the reckless regime, enough is enough. We're bullying the judiciary. We're bullying judges. We're tampering with jurors. The Constitution says The jurors have a right to ask the defendant's question, to ask the prosecution any question. In the Fonati case, the juror asked Fonati certain questions, and the government said that question that the juror were asking, it showed that the jury was going to vote for Fonati to be free. So the government moved to disband the jury. The constitutional right of Liberians have been trampled. In my case, the juror found me guilty. The government said the juror, not guilty. The non-juror found me not guilty. The government said the jurors were not acting right. The only thing they wanted for the juror to find me guilty. So these are the times and these are the contexts under which we are now speaking. CDC was established to prevent all of these. In 2004, we began a movement, and some of the founding members are here. The organizing chairman, I will have you stand up, the organizing chairman of the Great Congress for Democratic Change, Oresho Gu, Honorable Dole, another organizing chairman. Some of the CDC have many organizing chairmen here, some of them have left. Steve Tweah, who works with President Boakai right now, Steve Tweah was an organizing chairman of the CDC. There are many. These men got together to present George Weah as the alternative in the future of the country. While they were doing so, there were other organizing members in the United States, in the name of Samuel Tweh Jr., James F. Cully, who were meeting on that side to decide the future of Liberia, and they also said George Weah should be the president. So two groups from America and Liberia converged. There was an interesting debate. I will tell you. Samuel Kofi Woods, who is now the National Security Advisor to the President, came to Minnesota and said he's interested in the whole establishment of the CDC or the Liberian National Congress as we're describing it. But what his problem was that we should not select George Weah. George Weah should come to a convention where he will compete with other people to be the leader. But if we just went ahead and chose Weah, we will have a problem. So that was the debate that we're having in the United States, and we're all meeting at my house. That those who believe that George Weah should not be selected are wrong. We made an argument that George Weah remains the ideological foundation for mobilizing the society toward the dynamic of change. And so his populism is essential to getting us to the institutionalism that you are talking about. Kofi's argument was that if we focus on the personality, we will not be building institutions. Our response was that they are not separate. You can move personality and institutions together, and we have the opportunity to perfect that. CDC has come to power, and we are seeing some, you were here, but some of the institutional gains that we have made later on. And so that was the organizing theory, and we move ahead with George Weah, and then he ran in the elections. Before we got power to power, from 2005, you saw a CDC in opposition. CDC brought many of the sons and daughters to what? To prominence in the national legislature. One of the most prominent of them is who? Thomas Farrar. He was taken from the playing field and he rose to prominence at the expense of the CDC. We empower ordinary people, children, and brought them to the legislature. We empower ordinary people, children, and brought them to government. That is the mantra. And this is one of the reasons why CDC is hated by some of the political elites of the country. That we are giving power to you, the ordinary people. In CDC, any of you can be president. For CDC, any of you can be representative. For some people, they say you must have PhD before you be representative. We say no. Our democracy is open to all. Then we started a radicalization in opposition. You know the whole thing about militancy, and so with CDC. You know about Maba Malu? You know about Jawasi Koyi? Yeah. You know about George Solo? So those are the people who started the radical business with the CDC. You know about Chairman Nathan McGill? So there was a radical phase of the CDC. You started hearing about Ellen step down, all that militancy in the street. Then we moved from that and say, Dr. Sawyer called me once and said, young man, I like the CDC, but I think y'all need to move towards a period called constructive engagement. the violent rhetoric that is coming from the chairman George Solo is not helping the party. There are many people who want to come to CDC, but they are scared by that rhetoric. And so under McGill, CDC moderated. McGill brought a lot of people into CDC and he conciliated. And it was constructive engagement that led CDC to political victory in 2023. When we came to power, we saw the propaganda against us. You saw that history. Everything you are hearing today was the propaganda the Unity Party used to move us from power. Yesterday, I posted a picture of the road between Zwaju, between Tapeta and Town. And I said the government of President Weah has already provided the money for that road. So when the Unity Party people come here and tell you say they are paving that road, tell them say the money to pave that road was secured by George Weah. The most important thing in project is financing. If I tell you say go build your house and you draw the house, I can give you $5, you will build it? If I give you $50,000 and say go build your house, you gotta draw it, so you will pay. So the money is sitting down, but the government cannot even move. I can tell you, how we won the election, that road would have now reached to Tapeta because George Weah can push his government to deliver. And that is why we have more than 450 kilometers of road developed by President Weah, the greatest honor in a single president. That is why we have 10 years of financing in electricity. That is why we have now the solar at the Makofe plant that President Weah initiated, that President Boakai went and dedicated. That is why we have more than 50 schools built by President George Weah that President Boakai is dedicating. That is why more than 1.3 million books were brought in this country. That is why they were. So you can see the achievements of CDC. During the election, they lied that CDC is not competent, did not do anything. Now, President Weah's God said CDC leave power. Let's give Unity Party the chance to come run the country. They are there now for 3 years. They cannot even move and shake. They cannot move and shake because they have now been exposed. Let me tell you what Unity Party is afraid of. Unity Party is not afraid of protest. If you want protest, Unity Party will give you money to protest because that's what they want. They want to say CDC wants to destroy the country. Unity Party is afraid of intellectual debate where you show them that they don't know how to run the country. That is what they are afraid of. And what our loss has now shown is that y'all say y'all are going to bring investors. Y'all say y'all are going to end poverty. Y'all say y'all going to carry all the civil service salary by 100%. Y'all are going to do all our. We gave y'all almost 3 years now. Nothing has changed. So the country is now saying they made a mistake by electing Joseph Boakai. For fear of being defeated 2029, they are coming to wish on all the CDC people. They're looking to manipulate all the judiciary so they can present an air that they are fighting corruption. But as long this is why all these men have to come together, to stand together, to resist this tyranny, to resist this despotism. We will stand together, we'll unite here, beginning in Grand Gila. We'll move to Maryland County, we'll move to River G, we'll move to Sano County, we'll move to Nimba County, we'll move to Riverside, to Lofa. We'll ensure that this party called Unity Party does not anywhere come near political power in Liberia in the history of this country. And that's the beginning here. Thank you very much. Put your hands together for the great Samuel Tweh Jr. for that brilliant synopsis. Zwaju said it. We are here, and of course, it is a great moment